All right, here we go, guys. Yes, the mid-year update, and it's mid-August right now. It's early in the morning. It's a little after 5:30. Sun is starting to pop up. I'm driving east. If we were driving the other way, it'd be pitch black, but we got the sun in the distance. Going to do some maintenance on the boat. I'm actually working today, my full-time job, and my last charter Saturday, Sunday got blown out, and we had this issue that I'm going to talk about. But my last charter on the way back, in some pretty rough weather, coming back 45 miles from Block Island, I started getting a low voltage alarm. The voltage was dropping below 11 on my house battery. The two batteries that charge my engines, or my starting batteries, if you will, they were running perfectly. It was the house battery. I came back on Sunday. The trip got canceled Sunday. Sunday was very windy. But I came in, worked on the boat a little bit. I plugged it in when I got back. It went back to 14 volts, but it slowly started discharging while I was running. And as soon as I turned the engines off, it again dropped to 11. And yeah, very rainy day. This is, believe Fred. We're gonna also have Henry coming up this weekend. That's not gonna be fun. There's some crazy wind predicted for Sunday. Looks like people in the Cape, the Massachusetts area, they may get a direct hit. But you know, we talk about how difficult it is to source engines right now, and you know, sourcing a Group 31 AGM battery is not that much easier. Luckily, my local Napa store found one for me. They had to order it from another store that had one in stock, and it got delivered yesterday. I picked it up, and now I'm going to go install it before I start work. I'm going to take the other one out. So another $276 hit. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is I'm doing the mid-year update on you know, the part-time charter business, our expenses year to date and our income year to date. I got a lot of requests for an update on how that's going. So we're gonna open the books again and you know, show you guys how it's going so far. And again, a grind, man. We have a lot of fixed costs. We'll go into that, and then we have some unexpected costs. We have this battery, I think, weighs close to 70 pounds or 65 pounds, whatever it is. It's heavy. But I got 3 or 4 trips canceled because of a 5-amp fuse that weighs a fraction of an ounce. It kept blowing and blowing and blowing, and finally had to take it to the Merc dealer, who discovered that the way my main power line was connected to the engines, what they call the clean power, it was not wired correctly. At some point, my presumption is, this is the third set of engines on this boat, my 32CD. At some point, somebody decided to move the clean power to the battery switches, and I'm really sorry about the noise. That's the rain. But somebody decided to move my my clean battery line, the junction box that the clean battery line is attached to the battery switch instead of directly to the starting batteries. The dealer changed that out. Ran perfect after that. We've had no issues, no blowing fuses. And while I was there, because I wound up running a few charters with the issue and just not shutting off the engines. The problem would only happen once you shut off the engine. So I wound up, you know, putting like 30 hours on the boat in 3 trips. So I was at 80 hours for the year. We got the 100-hour oil change out of the way, so we're good for the rest of the year through November. And yeah, end of November is when I end. So this is literally the midway point. We had about half of May, all of June, all of July, and half of August. That's about 3 months, and then we're gonna have the other half of August, all of September, all of October, and you know, to about November 21 or so. So 3 more months after this, half my charters are done, and we'll give you the update. You'll see that charge from my local Merc dealer, about $1,700 to diagnose, fix the issue, do the 2 oil changes, the 2 engines. We'll go over some of the fixed costs, and then I'll give you my opinion on how I think I'll end up in the year, barring no unexpected emergencies. So, and we'll we'll stop at the boat too and show a little bit of the battery change. I know, really exciting stuff. Yeah, but that's it. We'll check back in a few minutes when I'm at the boat, and we'll go from there. All right, at the boat in the rain, carrying this monstrosity. Batteries are not light. There's a beautiful shot of the sun coming up. A little before 6. You can see the rain coming down. Oh boy. These batteries are not light. Thank God it's just one. What I'll do here is I'll disconnect the shore power, make sure the battery switches are off, and we'll get her done. Whew. New Group 31 AGM going in there. And I'm getting soaked. All right, you idiots, stop panning. Let's go.
And yeah, that was quite the rainy and noisy intro, and I'm really sorry for that, guys. It was just a horrific morning, and yeah, I know I was complaining a lot about that battery, but I got to tell you, those Group 31 AGMs, and I'm a pretty big dude, and you know, they're friggin' heavy. That thing was a biatch to carry. But anyway, let's get to the income and expenses. We have it up here on the screen in front of you. You should be able to see it. You'll see about $29,180 in change in expenses and about $19,250 in income. And you heard me say I'm not that concerned. I still think I'm going to turn a profit. And the main reason is a lot of that $29,180 plus in expenses are fixed costs that I'm only going to pay once. And those costs are out of the way. And those fixed costs included my spring commissioning of $4,188. And even within that, right, bottom paint, which I do every 2 years, I had to do one water pump kit, 3 years. The other one was done last year with the new lower unit. And we had a bad live well pump that got replaced, and you know, the oil changes, everything else they do to get your boat ready. We're certainly not going to have the water pump next year. We're not going to have the live well pump next year. We're not going to have the bottom paint next year. So these are all going to be, you know, one-time expenses, and even within those one-time expenses, we'll have some relief next year. The other fixed cost was the dock, that's $6,250. The insurance was about $2,000. And the winterization, the boat got winterized in early January. That will get maybe at the end of this year, but more likely I'll wind up paying the bill in early January. So again, we won't see that expense again. Some other contributing factors to the $29,000 that you'll see on this spreadsheet. You know, gas. Gas is insane this year, and we're not going to get into politics, but I'm paying this year $4.49 a gallon. And you know, last year I was in the mid threes, so more than $1 a gallon. I've paid about $5,000 at the pump this year. Yeah, I've put over 1,000 gallons in the boat. So nothing you can do about that. Those are fixed costs. Unexpected boat repair, that's the other one. You'll see Albertsons Marine, $1,700 and change. You know, I had that issue with a really small 5 amp fuse that kept blowing. Nobody could diagnose it. It just kept blowing and kept blowing. And finally I took it to the Merc dealer. Those guys are great. They had me back in the water in under a week. And they diagnosed it. The junction boxes that have those fuses that connect to the clean power that goes to the engines, they were in the wrong spot. They're supposed to be connected directly to the starting batteries, and instead they were connected to the battery switches. And the reason that cost $1,700, it wasn't just diagnosing that, and anybody who's diagnosed an electrical gremlin on a boat knows it's not easy, but it was also doing the oil changes. I lower unit oil and the engine oil on 2 engines. That was factored in, and there's a haul out fee too. I drove the boat to their marina. They have to haul it out. So it was $1,700, but worth every penny, believe me. And you know, the last unexpected expense, and this really isn't going to show up on the spreadsheet, but I've had a mate this year. I have my buddy Spiro on weekends. I have my neighbor Chris on weekdays when I charter. And I have a guaranteed minimum with him. If he makes it through tips, that's awesome. If he doesn't make it through tips, and again, this I'm not advocating that my clients tip this amount. I'm all for people tipping what they think the mate's worth. But my minimum with him is 200. So on a lot of trips, I've had to make up the difference between the 200 and whatever he got from the customers. So that's a little bit about the expenses. On the income side, it's not bad right now. Halfway through the year, 19,250. I have a bunch more trips coming. I have a full load of Blackfish trips. I have a week off in November. I'm going to lose less Blackfish trips than fluke trips, because fluke trips, we're running to the ocean. That's really dependent on the weather. We've had a lot of trips canceled this year because of really bad wind. Hopefully that won't be the case with Blackfish. And we still have a bunch of trips left in August, a full slate in September of fluke trips. So there'll be more income coming in. And yeah, so we're about 10K in the hole right now, but I'm hoping when I give the update in December, whenever I do it, that will show, much like last year, a small profit. And look, the goal for me is to keep building the business. I'm happy making a small profit until I'm ready to retire early. I'm 49. I turned 50 at the end of this year. And my goal always has been to get out of the rat race, save as much money as I can, let that work for me in the background. And when I'm ready to retire, between YouTube and this, hopefully, enough to make a living and let my investments work in the background, so that when I'm really, really retired, I can live off that and just fish for pleasure. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you do like these videos, hit that like button. And if you're not already a subscriber and you like content like this, please consider subscribing, and feel free to ask me any questions about the business. My email is jiggingjerks@gmail.com. Instagram, we'll have a link to that below. You can contact me there too. I've talked to a lot of guys who are trying to get into the charter business, and I'm always happy to share information and do whatever I can to help anybody who wants to take a similar career path as me, help them on their journey.